Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to start in a few minutes. We're just going to let everyone roll in. In the meantime, if everyone can please mute themselves so that there won't be any disturbances. And if you have any questions, feel free to message us in the chat, and we'll have a portion of time dedicated towards the end for any questions or anything that you guys want to ask Gianna. Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Wildling Body Gua Sha Masterclass. We're going to get started in just a moment. So today we will be going over everything that is in the Aura collection, mainly focusing on Gua Sha. So I'm just making sure I have my tool here. I want to make sure that you all have your tools as well. And let's see. Sorry, I'm just making sure we're all set up before I dive in. All right. So my name is Gianna De La Torre. I'm one of the co-founders of Wildling. Thank you all for being here for this Zoom class. We're going over everything that's in the Aura collection today, especially focusing on Gua Sha. So I just wanted to quickly walk through what is in the Aura collection. You have the Aura Sweeper, which is made out of olive wood and has Tampico fibers in it. This is a really beautiful natural dry brush, which breaks in over time. Then we also have the Aura Mist, which is made from French seaweed. It's incredibly hydrating and it's really good for breaking up fatty deposits. So this is one of the reasons why it's so effective to use this in a system, because this product really moistens the skin. It's almost like dampening a sponge before you use it. Anytime you apply oil, really, we love to share that it's best absorbed when you apply a mist first. So if your skin is damp, that's fine. the oil can absorb, but just applying oil to dry skin, it's not going to absorb as deeply if you don't start by using a mist. So this French seaweed mist is really good for breaking up fatty deposits. Let's see. So we do have a discount that Sherelle will drop into the chat. We are offering a discount on everything Aura today. So make sure you check that out in the chat. And so then after you apply the Aura Mist, then we have the Aura Oil. I've already prepped my skin with this. So this is a rose pepper oil that also is really good for breaking up fatty deposits. If you've heard of Bum Bum Cream, it's one of the best-selling products for cellulite. We created like our natural version using the Aura oil, which in addition to having this really great herbaceous plant smell is also really great at stimulating microcirculation in the tissues in order to help. So if you use the code Aura15, you'll get 15% off anything and everything in the Aura collection today, which is very exciting. And so make sure to try that out. If you forget any of that, I definitely recommend at least trying the Aura Mist and oil because it's so nice on the skin. Also, when it's really dry out, just misting the skin, hydrating the skin. I'm a really big fan of body care. And just to speak a little bit to my background, I'm a licensed acupuncturist, and I've also been a practitioner of yoga for over 20 years. And the Aura collection was really my baby because I just felt like it was so important to be able to have these tools to use on the body, not just our Empress collection on the face. So the Aura collection is incredible for smoothing the fascia, increasing the health of the tissue, decreasing pain. We talk a lot about how the Aura collection can minimize and reduce the appearance of cellulite, but there's really so much more. I think that that's like a very attractive way to think about the Aura collection as smoothing cellulite, but there's so many reasons to use gua sha. So I initially came to Chinese medicine and gua sha in around 2005, and it was one of the first tools that I was empowered to use as like a young acupuncture student. And I would do gua sha on the upper back of somebody who had a cold or the flu or something like that, and they would immediately feel better. And then additionally, for people who had pain, I was just so taken by the fact that gua sha works almost instantly to relieve pain, to just like open the flow of energy. It really changes your state. So one of the key things, according to Chinese medicine, that we're working to clear is stagnation in the tissues. So this can be blood stagnation, this can be muscle stagnation. There's different ways that you would talk about it from a TCM perspective versus more of like a Western understanding. And what I really have loved lately is the discussion about fascia. So fascia, if you have not heard of it, it's coming more into like the wellness lexicon as of late. But every single thing in our body is surrounded by fascia. It's this connective tissue. It is not like vasculated, so it doesn't have blood flow to it, but it's like this casing that cases our muscles, our organs. And they're drawing a certain correlation between the fascia and even like the acupuncture meridians. So there's thought to be this electrical system that moves through all of our connective tissue that is getting more appreciation and recognition than ever before. And as we go through life, like if you look at children, they have this incredibly mobile fascia. They can like bend and twist, they can fall off things and just like bounce right up. Like my 5-year-old daughter she fell one time off of her top bunk in a circumstance that was just such a freak accident. And it was like she just barely even flinched, and I was so, as you can imagine, terrified, mortified. And she landed in a way that was like, did not look good. It was awkward. And, luckily she was totally fine. But the way that she bounced back from that, I was like, wow, it's just like a marvel to see how children can have that snapback. But part of that has to do with the fascia. So as we age, it's almost like in the same way we get set in our habits or we get set in our ways, our fascia hardens into place. Sherelle, I was just making sure you're recording this. I forgot to record. So the fascia over time hardens into place and it kind of holds everything in a way that's more rigid, and it holds everything in a way that's, it just becomes more fixed. I just want to make sure here. I'm going to reclaim host for a second just so I can make sure.
It's been recorded.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like my spiel on the fascia, is it keeps us fixed and hardened over time into these positions. So a really good example would be something like kyphosis, like when you see someone who's older almost get like hunched. Part of that is obviously degeneration, but another big piece of that is the fascia that's kind of like going into that pattern of holding you in this position. So I notice it on myself, and I'm going to do some gua sha here. I notice it a lot here. It's like this self-protective pectoral muscles. Plus I'm on my phone, I'm on my computer, I'm, you know, like doing a lot of things like driving or cooking or lifting heavy things. And so it's like remembering to open up the muscle structure helps to reset the fascia, and then gua sha helps as well. So that is my spiel on why I think gua sha is so important. It's also been used in traditional Chinese medicine for ages to for like lung conditions or immune conditions. There's so many different things, but I would say at the baseline, every Asian family would use gua sha, most Asian families all over all different parts of Asia. And then wherever, you know, they've received that kind of lineage would use it for clearing respiratory illnesses. Like they would gua sha over the lungs anytime you have a cold, flu, COVID, anything like that. And releasing the stagnation behind the lungs helps to open the lungs and also to vent the pathogens, is how we talk about like the invasion of cold or flu or any of these kinds of things. So gua sha translates as scraping sand. And the reason that we talk about scraping sand is that you'll see these little dots that come up with gua sha, especially on the body. We never do that on the face. But on the body, you can get these little dots, which are petechia. And this is kind of blood coming to the surface. It might look a little like a bruise, but it's not, because it doesn't feel sore in the same way. It actually feels better after. So I'm just going to do a quick little demo on that place that I was talking about. So you can see, this is one place I can always scrape sand, so to speak. This is also like a really good exercise if you like to open the heart. So I have already applied the Empress Mist, the Empress Oil. I'm just going to add a little bit more oil. This is the wrong order. Sometimes I like to do the mist over the oil too, just to kind of add a little extra hydration. So I'm going to use the Empress Stone, the Aura Stone. The Aura Stone is made of Bien Stone, which was created when a meteor struck a mountain in Paleolithic China. It's one of the original pillars of Chinese medicine. And this stone, I see someone saying the Aura 15 code doesn't work on the Aura Sweeper. Yeah, we don't have the Aura Sweeper in there because this is such an expensive product. We actually don't make money off of it. Funny enough. So the Aura Stone is patented by us, and we have this nice wavy edge on the Aura Stone that grips onto the fascia that we were talking about in an irregular way. And so this, by the way it grips onto the skin, it means that it's agitating the skin away from the fascia, it's agitating the fascia away from the muscle. This is why this edge is so unique. If you're using gua sha just on the smooth edge, it's going to affect all of that skin in the same way. And then it's not going to create that same agitation. So when we talk about smoothing fascia, breaking up adhesions or places where the fascia is stuck or stagnant, that is where the wavy edge comes in. So That's a little bit of dorky info on the wavy edge and why we created it like that. So I'm just going to start working over my pectoral muscle. And this is how we'll work on any area that feels stuck or stagnant, or maybe an area where you notice cellulite, or maybe an area that has pain. I would say it's mostly the same protocol all around. I'm working from the inside of the chest out towards the shoulder. This is also working over the lung meridian, so this is also good for the lungs. So over this entire chest area, I notice that it's starting to feel tender. I can use as much pressure here as it feels good. So I can go pretty deep here, but if it feels like too much, just back off. That's the great thing about doing it to yourself, is that you don't need to kill yourself. And on the body, you don't have to be quite as precious. Of course, if I was really concerned about having marks on my body, I would use less pressure. These marks that are here right now, they're not going to stay. That's just like some redness. I'm just starting to generate circulation. So this area right here is where the fascia is stuck. And I know that because we're going to start seeing these, the sha or the petechia, or what is described and translates as sand right here. So I love to work in this area because this helps to keep my heart open. This helps to keep my shoulders from hunching forward. So simply by doing this, not only am I relieving some tension, but see, this is very different than the red down here. Look at it closer. You can see these little dots. This is totally normal. I could really dig in and go for it and make a lot of purple marks here. Not necessary. I like to be like pretty mellow with it, but if I had a lot of pain, or if I like woke up with a crazy crick in my neck, sometimes I'll do so much gua sha that it turns very bright purple, and that's fine. It helps relieve the pain. It's all good. So someone asked, does the angle matter? You know, with the face, we're really specific about keeping the tool flat to the face using very light pressure. With this, the angle of the tool does matter, but it matters less. So think about going ergonomically. I'm holding the tool at about a 45-degree angle. I think that's where it feels best, especially because I'm pushing away from the center of my chest here. And I can use these nice short little strokes. I can also try, you can always play around with the different edges. I think the comb edge feels really good here too. So the intention here is different than if I was like working on the décolleté for like sleep lines. You know, if I was working on sleep lines, I'd probably go in with the comb edge and go back and forth, hold the skin tight, go back and forth with the comb edge, and it would almost be more of a superficial experience, which is just a different intention with your tool. And then I would probably use nice smoothing strokes to kind of soften those more superficial wrinkles, because my intention is open the chest, open the fascia, open up through this kind of stuck shoulder. I'm using a lot more pressure, and I'm going deeper into the muscle and the fascia layer. So wow, the shoulder's like pretty tender, but now having done that one side, it feels so much more open. Again, all that's going to be left here are these little dots. They'll probably be there for like 2 days or so, and then that'll clear. It's really important that you're drinking a lot of water. So going on to the other side, just to see if there's a difference, sometimes doing the exact same pressure on both sides, you might notice a lot more stuff comes up on one side than the other. And that's usually because there's more stagnation on that side. So don't forget to put any questions in the chat. We have Sherelle, who is on host duty, and she can answer any questions. And then I'll be like getting messages from her if there's anything I need to add. So we have an alternative mist and oil. Susan, I see your question there. I would say try the Empress mist and the lumen oil. I think that would be good. So let's see. let me just get to a couple questions while I'm doing this side. So I answered, does the angle matter? And the answer is yes, but not as much as the face. Go for what feels good. It can be a little bit more intuitive. So this is a great question. What's the standard time or reps that you do? It's hard for me to answer this because I've been doing body work and acupuncture for so long that it's very intuitive for me. So it's like, I could kind of tell this side was done. I'm also conscious of like, I don't want to overdo it, but I would say baseline, if you're working on the fascia in an area, probably about 20 to 30 strokes in an area is a good number to aim for. And then if you feel like you need more, sometimes your body's just like, I'm still into this, you can do more. Or you can notice like, sometimes I'm doing these long strokes, sometimes I'm going to be doing these kind of short, smaller strokes. And some of that has to do with just getting more targeted work. If I really want to go deep, sometimes I'll even just focus on using that little tiny tip, and you can really kind of get into almost deep pressure massage. The stone pouch, the Empress stone pouch, which Sherelle, I'll have you link there, it does hold the aura stone as well. Gua sha absolutely helps with scar tissue, because scar tissue, by definition, we would categorize that as a form of stagnation. It's like an area where the blood flow isn't as strong. It's an area where energy is maybe not moving as readily. So gua sha definitely helps with scar tissue. That being said, it's a contraindication to do gua sha directly over a scar. So especially like I have a C-section scar, I had a C-section. I didn't want to like touch my C-section scar because it was numb and strange for a really long time. But after a period of time, I would use this edge and the comb edge all around the scar. Like if you think of my bracelet like a scar, I would go on either side of it. You know, like that's how I would behave around the scar. And then I'd work like away from it. And then with this wavy edge, I could go in and kind of break up that tissue around it. Now, I didn't do that probably for the first 4 months because it just didn't feel healed enough. So I think depending on the type of scar, you don't want to go for it when it's like tender. And if it's more superficial, it's not as big of a deal. Like if I just had stitches on my arm or something, like that's not going to feel as invasive as like going through my entire abdomen. So you can definitely work around scars. It's really helpful, even for like minor cosmetic surgeries. I've recommended that. The recording will be available after class. We're going to post that and we'll send it out. And then Rose is asking, does it matter if you stroke in a certain direction away from the heart or towards the heart? For the most part, on the body, always with dry brushing, we sweep not just towards the heart, but towards these lymphatic centers that are like drainage points on the body. They're in the groin, they're even like in the armpits, the elbow, behind the knee. You're sweeping towards these centers because it's almost like you're taking out the trash. With gua sha on yourself, like if I'm doing gua sha to somebody, I'm always going up towards the lymph centers. But sometimes if I'm doing it on myself, like let's say I'm working on my forearm here and I'm really sore. Ergonomically, I can't get the same pressure pulling up as I can pushing down. So what I would do in that case, unless of course I'm working on a swelling or something like that, I would pull, you know, like towards the heart. So then moving down, if it's better ergonomically, is a good option. But then if you're really feeling like, oh, I'm worried about lymphatic drainage, you can then use the dry brush and kind of sweep up. So Holly, bringing it back to the connection between cellulite and fascia, the way that I'm working on my chest, the way that I'm working my arm, all of this is going to be the same thing that I would do for cellulite. But the reason that fascia and cellulite are so connected is that if you think about, I wish I had a better visual aid, but if you think about like the fascia and how it can harden over the muscles, over the fat, It's both above and beneath the fat. And so if you have this tightening fascia, it can tighten and hold the fat in a way that it becomes uneven. So by smoothing the fascia without losing the fat, you can actually affect the way that your skin looks, because it's almost like if you're holding a really tight grip and then you loosen the grip, then the surface can be more mobile, and then it's not creating that dimpling. And you also get it from coming from like between the muscle and the fat, and then also on the top, the connective tissue that's over the top of the fat. So that's how it exacerbates the appearance of cellulite. So just to move on to that, since that's such a important area for all of us, I'll just start by doing like a little demo on how I would work on cellulite and how I have. So for abdomen stuff, which is one area where it can happen, you would prep the skin, apply the oil. So if it feels like gravel in there, do we keep going till it's gone? I mean, not in one session. I would say that like, if it feels good, keep going, but it might take some time. It's not just gonna all dissolve in one session. So if I'm working on the abdomen with the intention of smoothing cellulite, like tightening loose skin, I would start by using the wavy edge and going upward. So if I were doing gua sha to promote digestion, it would look a little different. So I would be working in a clockwise motion, down on the right, up on the left. But just to start, I'm going to start by working over my entire abdomen. Sides too. I even like to do the back of the body, love handle zone. And as a general rule, like I don't really have to look in the mirror to do this anymore because I've been doing it for so long, but as a general rule, you're going to work on the belly until it gets pink. So if I were to, I see Raquel asking, how often can you do gua sha in a specific area? And the answer is, if there's a mark on your body, or if you left some sha, I would say don't work on that area again until the bruise or the sha is faded. I just ate. I'm not really worried about if you're eating. Unless maybe it's a really big meal and you're uncomfortable. I just had some stew, so it's like not anything too crazy. So I'm just working over the entire abdomen. And then it's a little pink. It feels really warm. And then if I'm breaking up fascia, I'm going to go a different direction now over the abdomen. So now I'm going to go from left to right. And again, I'm using this wavy edge to loosen the skin away from the fascia and loosen the fascia away from the muscle. And I'm going to demo this also on the thighs and butt, but it's kind of easier for me to demo on the abdomen because it's a bigger surface, but yes. So once I've gone one direction, I'm then going to go the other direction because the intention is to break up adhesions. I want to go as many directions as I can so that the skin gets unlodged from the fascia. And you can see I'm doing it all over my abdomen, but here is more stuck because that's where it's really getting red. I always wonder, like, this is where I'm usually covered by pants. This is where obviously I had like most of my baby growing those years ago. So maybe that's why it's an area that's more stagnant than like the upper abdomen here. But after I've done that, then I'll finish again these upward strokes. After one time of doing this, your skin will feel and look more glowy. Like once this redness dies down, like this isn't going to stay here. This isn't sha, this is just circulation. But think about going different directions because again, when you're breaking up the fascial adhesions, you're just kind of agitating the skin away from the fascia. So that is how you would kind of address the abdomen. And then going into the legs and the butt, I'll just kind of work on this and show you what I would do here. What can gua sha and cupping be used together? They can, but I wouldn't like do it at the same time. Like less is more. Pick one or the other in a day. So I'm using the wavy edge again, because we're addressing the cellulite. And I'm just gonna start by using firm pressure. Probably can't see, but this leg is starting to get nice and red. And I'm just gonna go over the whole affected area. I usually feel it more like on the IT band. I see Amy asking when the brush is used. The dry brush is usually step 1. But because this is like the body gua sha masterclass, I really just wanted to kind of show the brush and then focus on the gua sha. So the brush is a little bit more self-explanatory. It's kind of like you just use it to sweep from upward on the limbs. So that would be first. And then you would apply the mist and the oil. That's mainly for circulation. Again, this is like really going in there for fascia. So if I was working on a cellulite on my thigh, I would I'm kind of doing a demo of how long I would do it, which is maybe like 4 or 5 minutes. As long as I can tolerate it, it's not painful. You don't want to use so much oil that it's too slippery. It should just feel like the stone can slide. So you shouldn't feel any friction. You cannot use gua sha without oil. Don't do it on dry skin. Okay. Now I'll do a slightly different angle for this side. Okay. Is the direction for use on body different than when draining lymph? Okay, so the pressure used for lymphatic drainage is like this. So gentle. That's why the dry brushing focuses on lymphatic drainage. Once you're in the muscle layer, sure, maybe you're moving some lymph, but it's not like a 2-for-1. It's like focus on one or the other in a way. You can do gua sha in the shower. It's actually really beneficial to do in a sauna or a hot tub. You should start seeing results, honestly, instantly, because your skin will just look more even. Just watch out for your stone, like don't drop it. It's the main thing. So this is like a little painful, but I'm not gonna like kill myself here. Sometimes working through the discomfort, it feels good. It's like a massage, but you definitely don't need to hurt yourself. So this side is actually a little bit more tender. Just notice the difference. So that's about how much time I would use to do gua sha on the thighs. I feel a lot of energy circulating right now in the legs. And the way that I like to approach this, it can be a little daunting to think about like, okay, I'm going to do like gua sha on my whole body, which I don't usually do unless I'm like at the Korean spa and I've spent a bunch of time in the sauna, really got the fascia nice and warm. That's a great time to work on the fascia. Other than that, I don't usually do body gua sha on the same, like all over my entire body at the same time. Usually I'll spend one day on the abdomen, one day on the upper arms, one day on the thighs, one day I'll do my chest. It's kind of like I pick and choose and move around. So is there a way to work on or around spider veins? Like the main thing, spider veins, it's okay, maybe less pressure. Over varicose veins, don't gua sha over varicose veins. So you can work around them. You don't need to go over them. So that is the answer to that. In the stana, you would still use the mist and the oil. I still use the mist and the oil because it's just going to boost your benefits. You're going to get better results. So let's see, I'm going to open up for questions and see if anyone has any other questions of things that we can like get to. If there was like a burning question that you had that maybe we didn't answer, feel free to put it in the chat. But, you know, the big takeaway is that you can work on any part of the body mostly in the same way. So there are requests here coming through for like an upper arm demo. Again, this is just really going to tighten and tone underneath the arms here. I'm still going back to the wavy edge. I love the wavy edge, but like just because I want to use it for every part of my body doesn't mean that you have to. And the same thing with the butt. It's the same action, just going over the butt. How do you maintain the dry brush? So you can clean it. It doesn't really, I mean, I use it when my skin is clean, and it can be rinsed off with warm or hot water and left bristle side down to dry. My husband keeps it in the shower. He loves to have it in the shower, which is not what's like recommended, but so yes, counterclockwise for, listen, your colon empties on the right. So go down on the right, up on the left. I get confused with counterclockwise versus clockwise because am I looking at a clock? Am I the clock? I don't know. But your large intestine empties on the right, so you're gonna follow that, and it goes up on the left. Okay, day, night, evening, morning, it does not matter for gua sha. When is the better time for you? This is great for muscle recovery after a workout. It's great for all of that. So let's see. Big no-nos, like contraindications are scars. You're not going to gua sha over a pregnant belly. You're not going to use a lot of intense pressure on the shoulders if you're pregnant. Don't gua sha over broken skin or open wounds. Most of it's pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-explanatory. So for lower back pain or pain support, you're just going to work over the area again, like however you can do it ergonomically. If it's the lower back, I'm pretty flexible, but I like to go down like this. Or can you have someone help you with it or do it for you? That's the ideal. Let's see. Foot gua sha, you can gua sha your feet, just oil them up. Use the wavy edge, go like from heel towards your toes or from the toes back towards the heel, either way. You can do this when you're pregnant, just don't do the abdomen. Kate, I see that question. And we have just like a couple more minutes here, but yeah, you can work on the entire foot going down. My foot's not oiled, but you can totally work on the foot. It actually feels great for the feet. And we do use gua sha on the breast tissue. Obviously, I was demonstrating using it over the muscle, but it would be really gentle pressure. You can actually go from the nipple outward in every direction for lymphatic drainage. Gua sha will help with stretch marks. And I'll just go over, obviously I use the wavy edge a lot, but you can use the comb edge for surface repair, like I was talking about, like for wrinkles or lines on the décolleté. You would also use the comb edge over stretch marks. That's really good use of the comb edge, just to kind of stimulate collagen and stimulate superficial blood flow. Gua sha should not be used with enough pressure over the breasts to affect a cyst. It probably won't. But just using really gentle pressure with your tool over breasts with oil is really good for lymphatic drainage. So going back to the sides of the stone, I love to use this small U edge. This is great for using it on the arms or on the lower leg. And then you can use this pointed tip right here to get into like areas that feel really stuck, and you can kind of do really targeted motion there and really work into those areas. Make sure that you check out the Aura collection. Any discounts on the Aura collection. Aura 15 is just like, I think, for the next few hours. So I see, Sydney, that you're asking if you can use the Aura stone on the face. I do think it's kind of big for the face. It's not patented or designed for that. The Empress stone is smaller and it's like really made to sculpt the face, as opposed to the Aura stone is not. So, I mean, I would say, because I am the co-founder, we did design one for the face and one for the body. But maybe in a pinch, you could give it a try. We don't really educate on that. But thank you everyone for joining us today. And I hope that you learned something. And I'm so appreciative of when the community comes together and we can get like really dorky and talk about some of these things in detail, because we don't get to talk about it enough, like on Instagram or in our emails or anything like that. Feel free to ask any questions. We are going to post this on our YouTube channel. That's a great way to see any of the classes that we've done in the past. And especially the Aura oil, I really love it. I think it doesn't get enough love because we're always pushing our stuff for the face, but it's really special. It smells really good. I always get compliments on it. So give it a try. And again, this is our beautiful Aura collection box. It makes such a good gift. So keep it in mind for the holidays. For the yogis or the exercise enthusiasts, they'll really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your Friday.